Yeah, let's talk about San Diego State. Good headline. Lose the game. The bigger story, lose the big man. Really tough. Magoon Gwath goes down with what appears to be a hyperextended knee 2 minutes into the first half of the game at Utah State. It was really scary. Could not walk. Was gone for a good 10 to 15 minutes. Came back with crutches. Came back, sat iced. Then they put a knee brace on it. Undergoing an MRI exam midday on Monday. We're waiting to see what the results are. I don't think the results are good. Hopefully, it's just a hyperextension. Maybe the second worst part of that might be just a bone bruise, but those things take time to heal. The worst case scenario would be torn meniscus or possibly a torn knee ligament. It was just fluke. Somebody fell into him. He came down at a weird angle on his right knee. I was just really peeved at the officials. They let the play continue under the basket with Gwath laying on the floor. Play went to the other end. Ball came back this way. They never stopped it. Brian Dutcher had a meltdown. I thought it was malfeasance of the officials not to stop the game when the big man went down and never got up, and you could see who was in pain. I don't have an explanation why that was allowed to happen.
Yeah, that was an obvious miss right there. You know who commented on that was Chris Ello. Because he local sports talk guy, but he does a lot of high school basketball refereeing. And he said the way the refs handled that was just outrageous. It just gave a black snub to all refs.
So we'll wait and see what happens. Gwath, I think, is going to be out for the rest of the regular season. Whether they can get him ready to play in the Mountain West Conference tournament remains to be seen, but we just have to see what the dimensions of the injury are. If it's a minor hyperextension, maybe it's a week or two. If it's a bone bruise, that might be a little bit longer, but that can be treated. But if it's meniscus, obviously torn ligament, then we're talking an extended amount. On the court, not good. San Diego State, same scenario as we saw when they went to Albuquerque. Young team, altitude, hostile environment. The game just unraveled. Miles Byrd is really struggling, and I don't understand where his confidence is right now. I mean, he was 2 for 12 shooting. He was 1 for 9 from the arc, and he's had more bad games than he's had good games, and this is from a young man that played really well the first third of the season. On top of that, very erratic three-point shooting again. Nick Boyd did have 15. B.J. Davis did have 14. McKinney came off the bench, gave him some points, gave him a little bit of grit. Here's the big issue with San Diego State. If you're not going to have the big man, how do you survive that? And I think the game plan should be you move Coleman Jones to the big forward spot because he can shoot threes. You put Heidi and his 5 fouls in the paint, so you got big physical plus gifted skill big. And then your success of the rest of the season comes from your guards. Those guards have to put their nose to it, defend out to the three-point arc, disrupt the opposing guards, and just try to create bedlam. We have seen flashes this season, and even in the game at Utah State, where their guards just played with a hard-nosed approach to the game and actually got them back into the game, that they wound up losing at the tail end. But they're plagued by fouls. They're plagued by erratic three-point shooting. It's just not the same basketball team right now. Utah State was 26 of 32 from the free throw line. San Diego State committed 27 fouls over the course of the game. Aggies hit 11 threes. They were just bombing away. San Diego State just never was able to do it. And even though they were down, they came back and actually got the lead. And then the UTAGs went on a 14-0 run. Game over. And then they hit all the free throws right at the end. They got problems. So your reaction to who's playing well, who's not playing well, your reaction to my game plan, move Coleman Jones over, put Heidi in the middle, and just have your guards play with their hair on fire to disrupt the other guys.
Yeah, they're going to have to do something like that. I mean, when they were running that, is it a matchup zone? It's kind of like a hybrid zone man-to-man thing that Utah State was playing. And the whole game, I kept thinking, you need that 7-footer, at the top of the high post, to break down the zone. I hear you on Miles Byrd. I mean, Miles Byrd is a hell of a player, but sometimes I think he gets a little bit too much into hero ball mode. And I think, he gets a little bit off center. when he is moving the ball and passing, he is really a special talent. And I think that's a good way to get him integrated into the flow of the game. But you got to appreciate these kids. They fought back. They took the lead late in the second half. You thought we had a chance there, but that's a tough place to play. You're missing probably your best player, so you just got to move on. But I still think the Aztecs can beat Utah State in the Mountain West tournament if Gwath is back. And it would be really hard for Utah State to beat the Aztecs 3 times in one season.
Yeah. Utah State doesn't have the athletes that San Diego State has who can run the floor, create things, but Utah State's got the grit and grime.
Totally.
They play a really different style of basketball, and they just wear on you, and they keep heaving threes, and they get to the free throw line, etc. Tough loss for San Diego
The
State.
Aztecs used to be so good at playing defense and not fouling. But lately, they've been just hacking away, and sometimes really dumb fouls.
Well, this group is not other groups that we've had here at San Diego State. You see these chunks of time where they change the chemistry of the game by virtue of their defense that triggers their offense, but they don't do it for 40 minutes, and they're in and out, and then it's compounded by the foul situation and where the fouls are taken. You don't take a foul 88 feet from the basket.
Yeah,
it's just so there's a whole pile of problems, and now the big guy is not here, at least at this point, ready to play. Tuesday night, they get New Mexico, and then they got to go on the road. They got to go to Wyoming, which is never easy, and Wyoming seems to crank it up when they play San Diego State. They still got a game against Vegas, so I'm not going to say the season's in jeopardy, but their ability to do anything in the Mountain West Conference tournament, I think, swings on whether or not Magoon is part of this equation.
Yeah, well, I think going into that game, they were, I think, the 3rd seed if the tournament were to start. Now I'm wondering if they're going to have to play on Wednesday night and have to win 4 nights in a row.
Sure.
But going to Wyoming is tough. Remember that one year, it's like 10, 12 years ago, the Aztecs went to Wyoming, scored only 9 points in the first half. Let's hope we don't have a repeat of that.
And what is the combo? Young team at altitude, and now add into that crazy fans in Laramie without your big man. Wow.
It's going to be tough, but Laramie is not going to be as difficult as Logan.
I concur with you. So that's the latest. San Diego State losing to Utah State and losing their center along the way.